Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are we doing today?
It's nice and bright. The daylight savings time has just made my skin glow.
Oh, yeah,
That's why the shirt open. I tried to get views on YouTube, so people get curious now.
Yeah, we had to do something for the views, so this is what we've come down to.
I'm not sure if this is gonna help.
Happy to drive up views anytime, boys.
Awesome. Well, we made it another week. Anything exciting happened for you guys last week? I know we covered a lot of topics, coming with tech and all this other stuff. But I'm just kind of curious, what's cracking?
Golden? Preparing myself every day in the gym for Miami. Folk, no, I'm kidding. It's like this Michael's doing this probably. No, it's cool stuff. We're working on some new brand also within our. I will announce it soon. In a few weeks, I will do it officially. But we work on something really cool. Also, more focusing on more partnerships. As this is the growth we have. So working really cool stuff. Launching a separate brand in a few weeks. More than happy going to give you the breaking news and the teaser anytime soon.
Perfect.
And scheduling a lot of stuff for next week. Focusrite. So I'm excited.
Golden?
Yeah, there's some stuff we're working on over here that's not out there yet, but the amount of traction has been incredible and a bit overwhelming trying to keep it all straight and organized. But look out in the next few months for a pretty cool announcement from us.
I can't announce it early and ahead? No? Okay, cool.
No.
All right. We won't do that. Awesome. Well, last week, I think we did a startup of the week first. So I think I'm going to do... No, actually, we're going to do startup of the week again. We're going to go... we like startup of the week. Here we go. We're going to kick it over to Ross.
Way better.
Yeah, this week it's CloudBets. The reason why I picked them is because they raised $150 million. So a lot, amazing round, Series D funding led by SoftBank. So probably they have something still to spend. So really nice round. I think in total they raised $253 million in total. The last round was 1.5 years ago. So well done. People who doesn't know who CloudBets is, they're actually have a solution for revenue management, distribution, guest experience, and more than that. So I think they have 22,000 properties which they're serving. So probably therefore they have good traction and therefore they raised $150 million. So well done. The start of the week is CloudBets. Check them out and congrats, guys. So maybe next time in our show.
So if you haven't heard yet, Focusrite is next week down in Fort Lauderdale, basically Miami. So this is the travel's largest conference that brings together pretty much every segment of travel, from flights to cruises to OTAs to big ground for investors and media as well. So people are starting to gear up for it, meetings getting scheduled, and very much looking forward to being there.
I was going to say, speaking of events, not to take the spotlight from Focusrite, but our good friend and media partner at shorttermrentalswithaz.com wanted us to give us a shout out to a webinar that I'll be involved tomorrow. Of course, kind of a big celebrity over there. Beautiful lineup of awesome panelists that's going to be talking about social media. So there's one more event on top of Miami, but
shameless plug.
All right. Come on, don't forget the I Meet Hotel one soon, right? I think Golden, you're speaking there as well.
Yeah, it's next week, and I will be a speaker at it.
Perfect. Yeah. I'll add that to the list.
It's the short-term rental edition of I Meet Hotel. So, or we should do a name change. I Meet Short-Term Rental, whatever. But
there we go.
I Meet Hotels organizing the STR one, so you can register now and listen to Golden again, or with more clothes on or tent because of Miami next week Thursday.
Yeah, you know me. I'm gonna get super tan.
Well, we never had a second time guest on the show until today. He's our main man, Steve Davis from Operto. So I want to give him a warm welcome, and we're going to join him, have him join us to talk about technology. I know Golden, you wanted to talk about owner operations and all this other good stuff that's happening in the space. So we're going to get his opinion on a lot of different topics, but then also hear what's going on with Operto. So let's welcome Steve Davis to the floor.
Morning,
Steve.
guys.
Good morning. Welcome back.
I was going to say that photo of me looks it's definitely in my non-daylight savings look,
Is it the middle of the night there?
What's that?
Is it the middle of the night there?
You know what? When you wake up in the darkness and you go to bed, and it's we just never really see the sunshine anymore until about June of next year. But hey, that's the price you pay.
Gotta live for the summer.
Live for the summer. Right.
3 months of pure joy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Steve, I am really excited to see you again. It's been like a long time, since we saw each other in person. So I miss you. Hope all is well.
Been about a month of withdrawal now. So
yeah, it's crazy. So let's jump in. For those who haven't heard of Operto, don't know who you are, can you kind of just give a quick recap of Operto, what you guys build, what you guys do? Shameless plug again, Recreation Rentals, my management company, uses Operto. It's amazing. Can speak for it. Just an FYI. There we go.
Yeah, no worries. So we're primarily a property automation company. So we help property owners and property managers maintain their portfolios through smart technology. We do access control, obviously, and in-suite sort of devices that automate everything. That's the one side of our business. On the other side of the business, we acquired in the summer. We actually acquired VR Scheduler, and we've started to bring their operations and housekeeping functions in-house. So being able to really give the owner sort of a all-in-one dashboard where they can look to maintain their properties remotely, and then also help the guests just have a really good experience through smart tech.
Amen. It's a good way to sum it up.
Yeah.
So I want to go kick this over to Golden, because I know we were talking about this in our little group chat. You were talking about owner operations and this kind of being more of a rise. Do you want to bring it, kind of like describe it a little bit more? But then, Steve, I want to know if this is something you're seeing more on the user side of Operto rather than just management companies like mine or bigger ones that are just using Operto as a part of their solution.
Sure.
Yeah. So a long time ago, Hilton, I believe, was the very first hotel brand. They owned all of their own properties. They flagged them. They operated them from start to finish. And then when some of these hotel companies started going public, the street wanted them to separate the ownership groups from the operating groups. And that's where you get companies like Marriott and then Host. So Host owns all of the property. Marriott runs, flags them. You've got some brands like Sonesta that still exist today, all under one umbrella, that do ownership, acquisition, as well as operations and flagging. But it's not something we have seen in short-term rentals until pretty recently. And what sparked it last week was Y Hotel announcing that they had purchased a property, which is, to my knowledge, the first multifamily owned and operated by kind of a pseudo flag. And Ross's startup of the week a couple weeks ago, starting to buy up single family homes and then operating them themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So are we going to go through the same evolution in short-term rentals that hotels did, that it's easiest to acquire inventory by just actually acquiring it?
Mm-hmm.
And then in the future, you have to split off the ownership and the operations. Or does it actually make sense to own and operate it all the way through?
Yeah, I mean, it is early days, I think, on that sort of switchover. But what we definitely know is that the folks in the short-term rental space definitely know how to run a property, right? They've got huge amounts of knowledge around driving efficiencies and finding those little pieces that can, increase the average daily take, right? So yeah, we do see this model increasing where you've got folks coming in that can just do almost a better job than the original owner could, and using technology to really, again, sort of find those efficiencies. So whether that is, the stuff we do, or more on the operational side, there's just, it's the tip of the iceberg. And I think, if I was to guess 5 years ahead, I think it's just going to continue to accelerate, really.
Yeah, I even see it starting to accelerate again on the hotel side. There's this new rise of boutique brands, and those boutique brands can be pretty sexy. And whether they're actually acquiring the inventory or they're partnered with a PE shop that's solely buying inventory for that brand.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of benefits to being deeply integrated into the ownership side of the operations.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then leveraging technologies like Operto across the whole portfolio. It's a lot easier for us to go in and talk with them versus when it's flagged, operated, and owned by all different people. Everyone's just pointing fingers to other directions. It's them.
For sure.
Them.
For sure. And you know what the nice thing is that as those, we call those sort of our flagship accounts, that as they continue to just pile on more properties, and they just get better and better and better at running that kind of business model, all they just do is just continue to add more and more and more doors. And as soon as they've figured that tech stack out, it's really just a rinse and repeat thing, because it scales so nicely, right? So as soon as they've sort of done the hard yards around, okay, we want to remove the front desk, this is the kind of guest experience we want to drive for our user. As soon as they figure that out on the first 50, 100 doors, they can grow that portfolio as big as they want to, knowing that the tech will scale with them, right? So they don't really need to revisit that part of the business, and really all that it turns into then is more of a can we raise enough capital to continue to feed the growth, right? So it's a super interesting time, and I think that the changing tastes of the modern traveler, the post sort of COVID traveler, will continue to favor those types of operators who can really offer a really boutique-y kind of bespoke stay to the end user. So it's going to be interesting to see where this all ends up.
Well, I think one of the first episodes, Michael, I think, what is it, a year ago or something? I think the topic was apart hotels and the movement into more branded properties. Well, you just mentioned a few. I think we didn't realize it, but there's a few, of course, popped up in the last year. You see it more and more, Steve, as well. That's okay. We're just collectively starting a brand, or we kind of just participate in one of the brands.
All the time, and a lot of our sort of inbound traffic right now is folks that are looking at this sort of operating model and saying, you know what, I think that that we want to give it a go. And a lot of the first sort of early movers and why hotels in there are doing exceptionally well now, because they've figured out the business model that supports the type of traveler that they're trying to attract. And I think it's exciting, because I think really the person who ends up winning is the actual end consumer, because you end up getting a better product at the end of the day, right? You've got maybe a smarter, more savvy operator who understands the type of experience that you're looking for and can actually deliver it better than sort of say a bigger hotel chain, whether it's a Hilton or whatever, where you're just part of the treadmill, and you're getting kind of that bespoke stay. So watch this space. I think it's all very exciting.
And when you own something, you take care of it better, right? You pay more attention to the details.
Yeah.
Plain and simply. So, Steve, do you think with technology like yours, hotels will experience the death of the front desk?
You know what? I don't think it's ever going to be a death of the front desk, insofar, or more as a reimagining and or sort of repurposing of the front desk. So there's always you can't eliminate the human, right? It's impossible. And anyone who says, oh, we're going completely like, we're giving it all to the robots, is just not going to work. At some point, you're going to get a non-digitally savvy person walking in through the front door and doesn't understand how this whole thing works and actually needs to engage with someone. But what I do think the death has happened or is happening is having 7 people behind the check-in counter. 3 are in the back playing solitaire and 4 up front, pretending they're working. And I think where you're going to really find a major shift is there'll maybe be 1 or 2 people behind the front desk, and the other 5 or 6 are making drinks or are welcoming people in the lobby or picking people's bags out of the Ubers or whatever, or they're part of the operations team. So it's and we are seeing that shift. And then the other side of this whole equation, and we don't really talk about it a lot in our space, is the labor shortage out there right now is so massive that a lot of our inbound is not really about, hey, we want to make it a cooler tech-enabled stay. It's like, hey, we can't actually hire people to staff the front desk. So we need this now, and we can't turn rooms fast enough to be, we just can't. So we need technology to help us just pick the speed up and to find those labor efficiencies. So really we always talk about guest experience, but really what what we're seeing right now is like labor shortage. And it's sort of that perfect storm of these sort of conflicting sides of the coin, which are great for us, right? I mean, at the end of the day, they drive business, they drive interest, and they drive sort of awareness of what we're doing.
Yeah, you mentioned something that I want to call out that I've experienced twice this year already, but I had never experienced it before. It's having the bartenders do the check-ins.
Yeah.
Like, send me
you can see it with Moxie, for example, Marriott brand, right? You can see Citizen M. They're doing the same. They're sending a book of the city, and meanwhile they can help you with check-in, or you do it by yourself, and then they're serving you behind the bar.
Yeah,
well, I think those big brands picked that up from independent boutiques, because of independent boutique that I used to work at a long time ago. That was the experience. It was like, hey, you're not just a front desk agent, but you're giving people like cocktails and beer, and then you're checking them in. I was like, this is not what I signed up for, but all right, like, let's figure it out. And it's a totally different experience. And it's crazy to see that the bigger chains are adopting that as well.
Yeah, it's super cool. Like when I was in Ireland with my wife at the Dean in Dublin, you walk to the front desk and they're like, do you want a cocktail? I was like, no, we're here to check in. It's like, actually, yeah, I'll take a cocktail too. That'd be great. Like, it drives food and beverage costs, I'm sure.
But then the downfall is like they're too busy making other people drinks, and then they can't check you in, so you're just standing there with all your luggage, and it's like a pain in the butt. But
you can see this whole check-in experience already changing, right? It's not in like this horrible lobbies anymore, or like checking desk, which is now just okay. We're just using the bar for checking, for example. Like, it's one big counter, making it a nice experience, right? Instead of like making this distance of checking in, filling in this horrible paperwork, and then you go to your room and you go downstairs. Why not directly start your journey and experience great hospitality?
Yep, absolutely.
You just gotta do it right.
It's about giving that guest, the moment they step foot in your property, it's like something unique, right? And something they'll remember. And the fact that you're talking about someone making you a martini in a hotel lobby a month later means that it worked, right? So
And front desk agents are nice, but the most hospitable people in the city are always the cocktail bar, the barmen, bar women. They know the city inside and out. And I remember specifically checking in, saying like, "Where should we have dinner tonight?" And then it's not a shameless, you have to have dinner here. Like, these are the 3 spots. We also have dinner here if you'd like. Like, I can book you in now. Or I can make a call to any of these restaurants and get you a table.
Well, it's a combination of efficiency, right? Because check-in will be everybody at 3:00 want to check in their room between 2 and 3 or whatever, and then at 6:00 they want to eat. So why not use the same people to doing multiple things? So it's also efficiency when you're looking at the lack of the shortage of people, right? What Steve just mentioned. I think in that way it's also for people it's engaging. Hey, look, I'm doing different stuff. Right? I'm not checking in people all day and looking in the PMS who's arriving. I'm just doing different stuff, which is also, I think, more fun.
Well, it's like, I want to know, because like, so there's two things that kind of bring up the hospitality industry as a whole picked up about 164,000 new employees. So like that labor shortage that we're seeing is starting to slowly kind of drop, I think, in the sense of more people are starting to actually go look out for work now. But do you think with the type of experience, because if you have a PMS, but then you're also a bartender that has a POS for food and beverage, the unification of these softwares and dashboards, do you think solutions like Operto, because like I know Operto has noise aware, you guys have like we integrated an Ecobee thermostat, like we integrated all these other things into one spot, so we don't have to worry about checking multiple different tabs and logins.
Yeah.
Is that going to go the same way, like maybe even current customers that are on Operto solution now, or
Yeah.
what are your...
Well, I mean, as you know, we're actually today sort of launching our new operating system, which is called Operto Connect, which is basically to bring all these sort of disparate point solutions together into one unified kind of dashboard, and sort of exactly what Michael was just talking about. You know, when you walk into the lobby and you know, how do you really start to engage with the guests in a meaningful kind of way? And what we've decided is, you know, the technology is fantastic, but really it's about how do you bring all those different pieces together, and also, you know, to drive guest experience through exactly the use case you just said was, okay, having that sort of digital valet, which is like, these are the 3 restaurants where we recommend you eat. If you're looking for this kind of experience, this is what you want to do. Do you want to rent a mountain bike? Do you want to rent a kayak? What do you want to go on a walking tour? Like, what are the ways you want to engage with the property while you're there? And so we've sort of been trying to tie all of the in-stay experience with the technology layer, because I think that's where people have really treated the two as mutually exclusive, and they're not, because really the technology enables the stay. And so how do you build just the most kick-ass experience through web app? Because everyone's using their phones, right? At the end of the day, that's always going to be the greatest digital guest book or guidebook is the thing that's in your hand, right? So yeah, I think, you know, all the kind of things we just talked about being able to order a cocktail to your room, or being able to go and order things, and actually being able to monetize the guest in stay, is really where the owner operators are going with this thing. And we want to kind of be part of that.
Well, eventually it's completely different people, right? If you're looking at the previous, like the typical traditional hotel schools, when they're really teaching people how to use their stuff and how to serve people, this is changing, right? Because of your technologies like Operto, you just have to be somebody who can just network with people, communicate with people, engage them, and maybe tell them about the city, and just be building a relationship for future returns of the
For
stay.
sure.
So it's completely different.
And for the owner, and again, this can be in hotels, but this is definitely applicable in short-term rentals as well, is how do you, from the moment that reservation passes from the OTA to the PMS, how can someone like Operto grab that reservation, start to do all the background checks and all the kind of pre-stay stuff, but how can you start to engage with the guest 2 weeks before they even arrive on the property, right? A month before they arrive. Hey, here's what to expect. Here are all the things you can do when you stay. These are the things we recommend. You can literally pre-book everything about your guest stay before you arrive. And then the only thing we hold back is the door code, so that at 4 p.m. on check-in day, it reveals the door code inside your guest app, and then you can start your stay, right? So it's about pre-stay, in-stay, monetizing the guest, obviously, and then post-stay, and really and we don't want to go out and build a CRM. I mean, that's just that's a fool's game. But like, how do you again capture all that rich customer data for the owner, so that, because booking and all these guys mask all of that data. Yeah. How do we grab that data for you, give it back to you, and say, here, engage with the guest post-stay, whether that's through you know, any CRM you might be using. So,
but is that like a future for Operto? If you say post-stay, I know one other technology provider is, okay, we just do the check-in part, but then we have so much data of the users, eventually we want to drive them bookings as well. So we're offering a solution together with the properties we're working with. We just deliver them a direct booking or whatever kind of
for sure, which is the holy grail, right?
And if you're looking at each of the segments, then you know that when I travel, I like to go to a cocktail bar. Steve knows that. Steve and I've been to a few cocktail bars.
Yeah.
But the next time I travel, the place I'm traveling to doesn't know that I like cocktail bars. But with knowing and kind of understanding how each person travels, it helps you get smarter and make better recommendations. Or you just classify it on why the person's traveling. Are they traveling for business? Are they traveling for leisure? Are they traveling to visit family? Like what is their traveler profile, and what do people that are traveling visiting families like to do?
Yeah,
like
well, I think
right.
I think Muse really captured it well, and we've all talked about Richard Valter, who's the founder of Muse and all this other stuff. But his philosophy is always about creating a seamless experience. Whether you do stay at one property that uses a Muse system, you go to another one across the world, they still have your same information. Michael liked the cocktail at check-in. He prefers the down pillows, and that travels with you. But then also capturing the guests more than just the 24 to 48 hours that they're in property. Steve, as you're saying, like pre-stay, in-stay, and post-stay, how do we capture 168 hours a month with our guests and a loyalty, not in just as a revenue driver, but I think that really brings into the brand on storytelling and moment making and all the other stuff that we geek out in hospitality. And I know you guys integrate and work with Muse. We're actually partnering you guys up with another project that we're on anyways. And it's a seamless connection that really helps that philosophy of capturing the guests more than that 48-hour or 24-hour time frame. So
exactly.
It's pretty slick.
And the exciting thing too, I think, guys, is that we're just getting started here, right? A lot of this sort of innovations happening in the short-term rental space, and I think you're going to see it sort of continue to push innovation in the hotel space, right? That's just the way it works. That we can move faster, we can tack harder, we can just make things happen quicker, and you're going to see best in class, best in breed technologies emerging out of the vacation rental space and continuing to drive innovation. Especially, I mean, you look at like a Marriott, like a Hotels and Villas by Marriott, right? Like they're right in there, and they're taking a lot of their technology learning straight out of our industry and using it to inform how they're going to drive their 50,000 property portfolio. So early innings, but I think it's pretty exciting for everyone who's involved in it.
Steve, what'd you call it? The Avengers of hospitality tech. So people like
I was actually calling my trademark lawyer. I was like, I should have totally trademarked this, but last time I coined something at a bar in the middle of a conference. But again, like that whole notion of, right, how do you get literally the 4 or 5 best technology providers together and create like an unbeatable solution, and I call it the Avengers as a joke, but it literally is, where you've got the Opertos, you've got the NoiseAwares, you've got the AutoHost, you've got the different pieces that you're bringing in, and being able to give a completely packaged solution to a boutique hotel and say, you don't really need to go and do your homework beyond this, because and you can, but you can't no one wants to assemble the second best group of Avengers, right? You always want the best. You don't want the sort of castaways. You want the best in breed, especially if you take your business seriously. So, and I think that's again what we're starting to see is I think every one of our deals right now works with NoiseAware. We're doing things with AutoHost. We're doing SuperHog with all these guys who just do great stuff. They're just industry drivers, and we're going to continue to see that kind of collaboration going forward for sure.
Is it going to something happen in there if you're looking at mergers, acquisition stuff? Because if you're working so closely and there are 4 or 5 operators, okay, we may become joining forces and become super strong, and nobody can just.
You know what? I hear the word roll up a lot, and I think that we acquired VR Scheduler in June. I think that was obviously for us was adding that sort of pillar that we needed in our business to be able to go and be able to operationalize or offer operational tech to our users who are asking for it. But I think that those kind of small roll-ups will continue to happen. Obviously, if we wanted to look at like rolling up with someone like NoiseAware, Michael's going to want a huge yacht off the back of selling his business. So that's going to probably come with a pretty hefty price tag, but we'll have to see we'll see if SoftBank can maybe make that happen for them. So.
Well, it's a good shout out for our episode sponsor Jetstream, because they're part of the Avengers and a lot
Yeah,
of
for
news.
sure.
So I think, you know, having good, powerful, not only tech but human minds behind it is really a big difference. So
For sure.
good shout out to them.
Jetstream's an amazing team to work with, because they bring it all together, right? And a lot of our projects, they just play point. So it's again, it's about finding the right partners. It's about finding the ones that just complement your technology, and they don't. And we find there's very little crossover in terms of any competitive stuff out there. So you know,
Sure.
it's great. It's worked really well, and it allows, I think, all of us to play in a bigger place, which is the hotel space, essentially, right? So
it's where we're all heading. And that's where, to your point, you know, a lot of the tech that's been built in short-term rentals over the past 5-10 years is now being adopted, or has already started being adopted in hotels.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So we're a minute or two over, but we got 2 quick segments to knock out.
Yeah.
Steve, you've been part of the lightning round in the past, so we're going to do it again, and we'll have different questions. I will kick off.
For sure.
We always like to know favorite airlines.
You know what? Any airline right now, other than Air Canada, who are just the worst to fly with, totally love it. But I would take a Middle Eastern one, like Qatar, Emirates, really nice.
All right. Favorite hotel brand?
Oh, it's got to be Marriott, doesn't it? Because I'm on their technology console.
Big box or boutique?
Oh, boutique all day.
Short-term rental or boutique?
I'd say boutique still.
Okay. Flip-flops or shoes?
Oh, flops.
Okay. Winter or summer?
Well, seeing as we sort of live in this limbo of sort of pseudo summer, pseudo winter. So I'd say summer, but you know, let's go summer.
Okay. Ross?
Okay. Beer or cocktail?
I've got 2 hands. Why not both?
Took my question.
Europe or Asia?
I'm gonna go Asia.
IPO or exit?
Oh. Exit.
Now getting personal.
Podcast or YouTube?
Is it this one? Podcast.
Okay.
No. Well, I was gonna say cocktails or beer, but that was my go-to question.
Favorite book?
Oh, The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F.
Love it.
Musk or Bezos?
Oh, well, I'm South African heritage, and he's South African heritage originally, so we'll go with Musk.
Sorry, nobody likes Bezos anyway.
Yeah, he's also an Android, but yeah.
Airbnb, Booking, or Expedia?
I'm gonna go with Booking, because my boss is the chairman of Booking, so we'll go with Booking. But yeah.
Good round. Okay, now we have another segment called Whose Brand Is It Anyways? And I'm going to share a name of a hotel brand out of the main 6 biggest flags there is. And yeah, no hands, no looking it up. No one can Google. But we're going to name it off, and then everyone gets one guess to see if they got it right. So we're going to kick it off. Whose brand is it anyways? And I'm just going to say it out loud. It's called Raffles.
Raffles?
Yes, Raffles.
I've stayed in Raffles before.
What?
They're everywhere. They're in Singapore. They're everywhere. They're in Miami. They're everywhere.
I'm got a lot to learn about hotels. Never even heard of it.
Ross, I'll guess you. If you know that, go ahead and do a guess, Ross.
Marriott?
No.
IHG.
I was gonna say it might be IHG.
Is that all your guys' final guesses?
Yep.
All right, it's a core.
Oof. Yeah.
Oof. Ouch.
Steve, I'm now I think 1 for 8. Everything.
Well, I know the brand, so the brand is known, but I just
I've definitely stayed in the Raffles before, but didn't know.
Yeah, good stuff.
Interesting.
Well, yeah, no, it's good. I was just like, oh, I haven't said that one before, so we'll use it. Steve, thank you so much for being on the show again.
Gentlemen.
You know, you've been on Slick Talk like 2 or 3 times. Now you've been on GMH 2 times. So this is good to see your face. Again, I miss you. Miss Verma times, you know.
For sure.
Good.
Thanks, guys.
Fun.
It's good to see
Fun
all
time.
of you. And I won't be down in Miami next week, but good luck and enjoy Focusrite, and you know, make sure you behave yourselves, and hope you
Always.
come back with lots of business. So,
Amen.
all
That's the way
right.
to do it. See you guys
Take
next
care.
week.
Cheers, gents. Take care. Have a good one.